Hello everyone. There is a very interesting weapon which is often mistaken for a Kalashnikov variant. This is VZ58, a Czech weapon which might look like Kalashnikov for a lot of people, but is actually quite different. Even magazines are completely different. If you will try to use VZ58 magazine in an AK, or an AK magazine in VZ58, you won't be able to lock it in. So the only real similarity is the cartridge 7.62x39. The Czech Republic was the only nation in the Warsaw Pact which was allowed to use their own weapons. They started development in the 50s. There were three groups of designers working on the same project. First was led by Václav Holek, who was the designer of a famous ZB-26 machine gun, which was very successful even before the Second World War. The second group was led by František and Josef Koušky. They were not very famous at the time, but 20 years later they developed a famous CZ-75, which is still variants of it, very popular with the competition shooters all over the world. The third group was led by Jiří Čermák, who was a very young designer, just 25 years old. Just like Mikhail Kalashnikov, he was very young, but he was already experienced. He worked on one of the machine guns before he joined this project. So the weapon was tested both in Czech Republic and in Soviet Union, and the results were very good. So in 1959, the production of this weapon started, and until 1984, more than 920,000 rifles were produced and sold all over the world. The design is completely different. Even the action is different. The AK has a long stroke piston. This weapon has a short stroke piston. The disassembling procedure is completely different. Today, we have this great example where you can see all the internals of the weapon. So let's see how exactly it is different from the AK. First of all, we remove receiver cover. You see it has two springs attached to it. Then we're removing the bolt with the bolt carrier. And you can see that the design, if you actually compare it with an AK, is completely different in every way. Especially when you look at the bolts. There are no similarities whatsoever. There is no hammer in VZ58, and the design is a bit more complicated. I had an opportunity to use this weapon back in the day, and when we got it for the first time, we had no manual, and it was in the middle of an Indian Ocean, so you can't really go on a forum or search for a YouTube video. So we started familiarization training, and obviously we disassembled without any problems. But when it came to putting it back, it was difficult. We just couldn't get the bolt carrier inside, and we couldn't close the dust cover. So the first guy on our team said, I'm gonna figure it out, just give me half an hour. But obviously, we were young and impatient, so I took the weapon and decided to just do it myself. I was taking pictures of every part to make sure that it will be easy for me to put it together, and after half an hour I realized that to put the bolt carrier inside, you actually have to press the trigger, and that's the only way the bolt carrier will go inside completely. So it's a very simple concept, but when you're not familiar with the proper procedure, it can be quite difficult. As we all know, it doesn't really happen with an AK. The ergonomics on the VZ58 are also very unconventional. For example, the safety. In this position, the weapon is safe. You push it forward and it's going on full auto. You push it back and it's on semi-auto. I don't think that very many people will call it very ergonomic. Some would say that it's better than an AK, but still you have to break your firing grip to actually manipulate the safety. So it's good enough, but certainly not a big improvement over the AK. Another point is the mag release. You can very easily access it from the left side if you're a right-handed person and you're using your left hand. But if you're left-handed and you need to use your right hand, there is not really much you can do because accessing the mag catch is quite difficult, and you actually have to do it from the other side. So for someone, this solution might be more ergonomic, but for a left-handed person, that would be really a nightmare. Also, you can see there are quite a lot of differences. There is a completely different bayonet mount. On different variants of VZ58, you might find the front side which will look more like a Chinese version, or which will look like a standard AK. One great thing about this weapon is it's very light. Very nice milled receiver. The weapon is really lightweight, very handy. but it has the same shortcomings the AK has when it comes to mounting modern accessories like lasers, red dots, optics. You have to swap parts, you have to change the receiver cover hoping that it's going to retain zero and you'll be able to use your optics. So really a very nice gun. I don't think that it's fair to compare it to the AK. Both are great designs, both are very interesting. The AK is obviously way more popular. So it's a great piece of history. It's still used in a lot of countries, especially, for example, in Canada, where you cannot have an AK, but you really want to have the piece of history like that. Thank you very much, and if you want to see more videos about different AK variants and non-AK variants like this rifle, check out kalashnikov.media.